Welcome to the Mantic Universe podcast. I'm Clem, and today I'm joined by a couple of good friends from Poland. Hi, Kacper.
Hi.
Hi, Łukasz.
Hi. Hello.
So we wanted to make an episode to discuss the community in Poland for Kings of War and Mantic games in general. And also, to be honest, we just took the opportunity to record this episode because you guys have a big upcoming event early June, the Kings of War tournament, GT. So 2 days tournament called Kings of Warsaw. And so I went last year and I had a great time. And so, we thought, we wanted to discuss about Kings of War in Poland for quite a while. And now we have a good excuse to record an episode. And so here we are. I think you guys, it's the first time you're on the Mantic Universe podcast. And so maybe we can start with a quick round of introduction. Tell us everything about you, where you live, how you got started with tabletop, and so on and so forth. The usual introduction. Kacper, do you want to give it a go first?
Sure, I can start. So, hi, I'm Kacper. Some of you probably knows me from Clash of Kings and maybe some other events. I'm 28 in 3 weeks, so my birthday is coming. I'm vice president of Kings of Warsaw Club with Łukasz as president. We created the club a few years ago and we started promoting the system in Poland. I'm doing wargaming for 20 years now, something like that. It started with my uncle that showed us old Bretonians from Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And then I just sunk into it for 20 years and still counting. I started playing Kings of War 6 years ago, thanks to my brother that was fed up with the other guys.
The other systems, you mean?
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, but you never stopped playing in 20 years, right?
No, I never had the break.
Nice. So you've been a tabletop gamer for most of your life at this point. If you started 20 plus years ago and you're 28, 27 and 360 days or something.
Yeah, so crazy 20 years of painting and cutting my fingers.
As we do, yes. And so, you got started in Kings of War 2019 after being fed up with Games Workshop. And so how did you get into it?
My brother, he's older. He was fed up with the other game earlier. And he said, "Hey, Kacper, look, it's a great system. Come on, let's go, let's play it." And I was like, okay, let's try it. I tried it once. Okay, but I was still stuck in the previous system. Then, 1 or 2 tournaments later, I was full in it. I bought 3D printer. I printed my first 100 skeletons for Undead Army. And that was it. That hooked me up for life, I think.
I've seen you with your Undead Army, but do you play other factions in Kings of War? Or is Undead your core army that you love and always play?
Well, I didn't like Undead ever, but I had 3D printer and fine files to print, so I printed them, and they were cool, so I printed more. So Undead is my main army now, probably 4,000 points painted and more assembled. Then I bought some elves, but not Mantic elves. Then I printed Sylvankin, not Mantic ones, of course. And then I decided after 3-4 years not having any Mantic models, it's time to buy some models. And it was this July, I bought my first Basileans and I had 2,300 points painted and assembled for Oslo GT in January, so 6 months. And after Oslo GT, I bought 2,300 points of Forces of the Abyss. And now I have even more models because I bought more. So yeah,
That's what happens with models. We tend to get more and more. But that's good. Yeah, so your first Mantic army and then immediately a second one right after. Do you also play other Mantic games maybe, or?
well, I played one game of Dead Zone with my brother because he just played every game, and I was sticking to the Kings of War. But I played one Dead Zone and I was like, "Oh, cool game!" But I'm sticking to Kings of War because it's time consuming. But then I met one Polish guy named Filip. He was like, "I'm throwing Armada tournament. Anybody want to join?" And I was like, Armada. Let's do some stuff with Armada. And in 1 month, I collected whole Basilean fleet and painted them. And I went for my first tournament, and I lost, of course. And then he said, "Hey, I want to try Dead Zone." So I painted 2 groups, bands. I don't know how they call them in Dead Zone.
Yeah, buns.
And now I have Kings of War, Armada, Dead Zone, and I'm looking for the Warpath system that is in the making.
Oh, the small size.
Yeah, the epic one. Yeah.
Right. Do you plan to also give it this one a try?
Yes, definitely. More than firefights, but yes.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. What about you, Łukasz? What's your tabletop gaming story? Where do you come from? Where do you live? All the things. We want to know everything.
Sure, thanks. So, my name is Łukasz, and I'm 43 years old. My story is a bit different from Kacper, but it has some similarities. So I started playing tabletop in high school. I believe it was the end of 5th edition of Warhammer Fantasy when I bought my first regiment of skeletons. Then 6th edition started, I played a bit more, went to a few tournaments, but kept playing mostly with my close friend. We were playing at home. But then life happened. I went to the university, got wife, kids, and I went with my gaming life on hiatus. But then during the pandemic, when pandemic started in 2019, my oldest son, who was 10 or 9 at the time, he asked me about the minis to show them to him, and I was very reluctant. I didn't want to do it because I knew that it's a Pandora box, and I just cannot force myself to open it again. But eventually I did, right? And
things happen.
Yeah, I bought minis for my kid. I bought minis for my second kid because he also wanted to play this game. And I bought paints, and I bought paint brushes, and I bought all the stuff for building and painting miniatures. And then we were sitting there. I didn't buy models for myself because, lo and behold, I had zombies for like Games Workshop zombies, which were, most of them were glued and primed but never painted, sitting on a shelf for like 20 years. So I had some models to paint, and I painted them, and I got hooked immediately. And both of my sons decided that this is not something for them, this whole tabletop stuff. So they left the hobby. Oh yes, and I was in. Yeah. I was like fully in, back to the hobby, and this was amazing. I was looking for a system to get back into playing, and I was doing a little bit of research. I found, of course, I knew that Warhammer Fantasy is no more at the time. But I found out ninth age, Warhammer Armies Project, and Kings of War, and also obviously Age of Sigmar. And I reached out to those communities on Facebook, asking them to show me the game, asking some questions about the game, and honestly, the most welcoming answer was from Kings of War community.
Yay, us!
Yes, and you know who responded to me, and basically on the day when I messaged when I posted my questions on the board on the group, the person that reached out to me was Kacper's brother, and he asked me if I want to play a game, and I said yes, sure, why not? I have some minis, we can play a game. He sent me the link to the basic rules. I read them. We met, played 2 games in one evening. I lost both of them, and I was like, "Yes, this is a game that I want to play more of." And this was the beginning. This was the beginning in 2021, so 4 years ago.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you could see after having played a long time ago Fantasy Battle, you play a couple games on Kings of War, and like, yeah, that's a interesting gaming experience, and then you're hooked, and you're back into it full on. And so do you now play other systems, or are you focusing on Kings of War?
This is a very difficult question, because I would say I would answer it saying yes and no. Meaning tabletop wargaming is, at least for me, at least 3 hobbies. One hobby is playing a game, second hobby is collecting miniatures, and third hobby is collecting paints. Not painting miniatures, but collecting paints.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'm very good at collecting paints. I am getting better at not buying miniatures, and I think I'm pretty good at playing the game. So when it comes to the hobby, to other systems, yes, I bought other systems, miniatures from other systems. I bought Dead Zone starter kit for, I believe, Dead Zone 3rd edition. Never played it, never glued miniatures, never painted them. I bought starter box for Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's a fun project. I like the miniatures. I painted them, most of them. It's a nice palette cleaner, different style.
Yeah, it's something else entirely. Yes.
Yes, it's something else. The color scheme is given, so you don't need to focus. You don't need to think about it. But I focus the most on Kings, on playing Kings. Kings is awesome, and I will definitely try Champions, because Champions is something that I think we missed in Kings. I was hoping to get something like a Spearhead in Age of Sigmar, and I think we did get that. And also, I think I will try Armada, because it looks very interesting, and I like the models.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I mean, that's what we say with Chris all the time, is there are so many cool games and so many universes and so little time to play them all. And so you have to pick a bit your battles. And I think it also depends on who is around you and who can you play with. Also, sometimes, even if, as you said, right, like the hobby is not just playing games. So you might just want to paint some sheeps for Armada because they look cool, and you want to paint something different. And then you have a fleet ready to play, and maybe you won't play for a while, but at least you have the option. But yeah, so maybe we can talk more about the Kings of War community in Poland. So you guys both live in Warsaw, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I guess at this point you also have met Polish Kings of War players from all around the country and know a bit what it's like in various cities or like gaming groups all around, right?
More or less, I would say.
Yeah, you could tell us a bit more about what is Kings of War like the community in Poland, from what you know at least.
Well, maybe I will start. Łukasz will say something more after me. So Polish Mantic community, I would say, is very strong, very elite, but small, unfortunately. We are mostly around Warsaw. Most players are from Warsaw. There are a few from other big cities like Łódź, Białystok, which is like on the eastern front, And we have a big community near the sea in Słupsk. From what I know, they are playing all the Mantic games. Unfortunately, it's so far away, we don't see each other often.
How far is it? Like, how long does it take you to go visit them?
I don't know, Łukasz, 5 hours?
It's 5 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it is quite a trip if you want. Like, it's almost the same from Berlin to Warsaw than for you from Warsaw to go visit them. So it works maybe for the weekend, but it's not something you do every month or something.
We try to organize 2-day event with them, but it's not that easy. We hope they will come to Kings of War GT, but probably not this year, maybe next year. What can I say more about community of ours?
So what is your group in Warsaw like? Do you guys play in a shop, in a club, or how does it work? How often do you meet up to play games? What is it like?
So in Warsaw, we try to organize one local tournament every month, like small local tournament, not the big ones for the League of Poland. So every month there is 2,300 points tournament in Warsaw. I try to organize some little tournaments like ambush tournaments or just store league in one of the shops in Warsaw. So that helps. And also we try to meet regularly in private or in the stores I mentioned. So the game is visible on the market and people can be interested by the look of the game. We have few 2-day tournaments in year. The one is Kings of Warsaw GT, of course. The second one, like annually, is in Iława, I think second biggest concentration of players in Poland. So they always do 2-day tournaments in the summer, so we can hang out near the lake they have.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
What's the name of the store? You mentioned there's a store where you guys go play. What's the name, and do they have Mantic product on the shelves to sell, or how does it work?
Łukasz?
Sure. So when it comes to the stores in Poland, this is quite a difficult situation. Currently, there are 2 of them, both located in Warsaw, and the name of the store is Paladinat. And we decided to go there more often than in previous years, just to show the game that there is a community that plays the game. People can see us. They can, if they are interested, they can stand by the table and look how we play. And some of them stay, buy some minis. They do have minis on the shelf, so they can buy them on the spot. And when they buy the minis, sometimes it grows to more than 1,000 points.
Yeah, that's good. And so you said they have minis available there. Are you guys Pathfinders maybe? Like, do you also organize, demo days or stuff like this? Or it's just when you go meet up to play your normal games, you chat up anyone that stays near the table to have a look? Like, how do you bring in new players?
Kacper is Pathfinder since
January or December this year. Yeah.
Yes, so he started his role as Pathfinder this year, and I think it helped because he is more present in one of those 2 stores, and he's organizing like entry-level shows, and he's also readily available for people if they want to play or test the game.
Yeah, a few years ago, we decided that community in Poland needs to be bigger, so we don't play the same players and always lose to Lires, winner of Clash of Kings 2022.
Yes, I wanted to mention, you said there are good players in Poland. It's like, yes, we've seen Clash of Kings winner or like finalists also, like, yes. So yeah, bring new players to sometimes be able to not lose games and yes.
And play some different armies.
This is kind of a problem of the Polish community, because because of the fact that we are so small, we tend to be better and better at the game because we play often. The level of all of the players that are playing the game increases with experience, so it makes new players sometimes discouraged when they play the games against seasoned players, because obviously they will lose most of those games. But this is not always true, because there are some players that are switching systems. So we have, I believe, 2 players that moved from the 9th age, which is super popular system in Poland, by the way. We were always very competitive players in Poland when it comes to fantasy battle on the ETC level, so European Team Championships. I think that we are always one of the top players together with Spanish people in
Yes.
regiment battles. So that's why the 9th age is super popular here in Poland. But we have 2 players that switched from the 9th age to Kings of War. And those guys, like straight from the bat, they are very good players.
Definitely better than my brother.
Yeah, and then they know how it works.
Exactly. So it's not always like you have a fresh player that you always beat them, right? Sometimes they beat you instead. But but if someone is super fresh to the game, never played tabletop, then unfortunately they might be losing some early games, and this might be discouraging for people.
Yeah, if you lose your first 2 games, it's harsh, but it's okay. If you lose your first 10 games, then it's even harder. Yes, that makes sense.
Yes, that's true. But also, I remember the times when I played fantasy, and obviously when I started, I was also losing a lot of games. But the feeling about losing the fantasy battles game, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and the feeling of losing Kings of War game is totally different. Kings of War is very clean, super clean. Basically, all the answers you have on the table state. You look at the table and you know the answer.
Yeah, there's no feel bad moment.
There might be feel bad moments. If
you make a big mistake or something,
or you don't understand how nimble chargers work or something, you might be surprised, right? But most of the time, like 99% of the time, basically you have all the answers on the table. There are no feel bad moments in a way that you feel cheated, right? That someone was using the rules against you, right?
You can only blame yourself.
Yes, I would say yes. For the new players, when they are coming from other systems, it might they might feel afraid a bit to come to a tournament, because they might feel that the experience, they might be afraid of the experience.
I think we've seen also what we've seen is some people who have experience with tabletop a little bit, like not very competitive players, maybe just people who already know the games. They have very bad experiences with previous tournaments. Like I know a couple of cases of people who went to 40K tournaments some time ago, and they did not have a good time for various reasons. And so now, when they hear, oh, we do a tournament for Kings of War in 4 weeks, then in their head, it's like, oh, it will be the same type of experience as the 40K tournament. And then they don't sign up and they don't want to join. Even if it's a different game and the community, I believe, is quite different. And every tournament I've been to, people have been very nice. And even when there are disagreements, usually you can find a solution quite quickly. And I don't think I've ever seen, very bitter discussions in a Kings of War event, versus for other systems, I've had bad experiences as well. So yes, I can totally understand.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have the same experience.
Yeah, I still have nightmares after my 40k experience.
Literally based on that experience, you're like, oh, I'll never go to a tabletop tournament again, right?
Something like that.
True, if you ever experience your army disappearing turn one before you even did anything with them, that's super bad feeling. And it happens sometimes in 40k tournaments, right? Or even other games. I don't want to compare Kings to other tabletop systems because people choose. It's okay. However people want to spend their free time, it's up to them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm just telling that in Kings are super clean and you shouldn't be afraid of coming to a tournament. You will find friendly people, almost zero disagreements.
Yeah, but it's very easily solved if there's some questions and so on. I think, yeah, that's an important thing. And in general, that's why locally I tend to do gaming days more than tournaments. The issue is then it's a bit disorganized. Like in a tournament, at least you show up at 9 or 9:30, then you play one game in the morning, 2 games in the afternoon, and you stack like that. There's a bit of you make the most out of one day, compared to if it's just a random, hey, it's a gaming day, show up when you want, or hey, let's play a game in the afternoon. You don't get as much out of it, but I think it's less intimidating for new players. But yeah, I was curious also, you mentioned, Kacper, I think, that you tried doing ambush events or ambush tournaments. Can you say a bit more about how that went, or what's your experience with it?
Well, in Poland, we usually play like very many points, so 2,300. So ambush points like 750. It's not common. It's usually I do 750 in demo days and so on. But
yes,
I managed to grab few new people, like couple of them that are starting the journey with Kings of War. So I wanted to organize something for them with easy entry, I would say. So ambush 750 points. I think it's a good size.
Yes, it works well.
Unfortunately, the first tournament of 750 didn't work because it was Easter.
Yeah, Easter.
So I had to postpone it for another time, which will be, I think, middle of May. We will see. But we are starting the local league of the store league. So 5 games of 750 points throughout May and June. Yeah, June. So we are starting on Monday and we are finishing on 6th of July. So 2 weeks per game, and I have already 6 players, I think.
Oh, that's really good. But do you also have experienced players who made a small army or like created a new army for it? Or is it all new players that you have for Ambush?
Both. I mean, the experienced players are Łukasz, me, Lires, of course. So I hope Łukasz and Lires will sign up, but we will see. Right, Łukasz? Sign up.
It's like for me, 750 is a very good number because
you bought Twilight Kin.
Yes, I bought like 2,500 points worth of Twilight Kin, and I didn't even open the boxes, and I bought them end of last year.
I can relate to that.
To run them this season, but I decided to keep 2 Salamanders for this season, and I will do Twilight Kin next year. But this Ambush League, I'm hoping that this will manage to drive me to build those models and to field them and to play with them a bit.
Yeah, I mean, even for experienced players, just like you said, right? Like if you have a project that you never really finished or even never really started or didn't go further buying the stuff, it's less daunting to think, okay, I will make 750 points, see how I like the painting these miniatures and so on. And also I know it will take me a third of the time versus if I did 3 times more with 2300. So I also like it as an experienced player, and like I have several armies already, right? But still, when I approach a new faction or think about a new faction nowadays, I think about it more as okay, what is the 750 points army I can make for them? And from there, I can see if I want to get started with it. Good. That's good to see.
And cool thing, and another cool thing about Ambush is you can play this game super fast. I remember we had this isn't our first time we play Ambush. We played one Ambush tournament last. I think it was.
I think 2 years ago,
or maybe 2 years ago during the summer. Like it was just after the Ambush was announced and released in Clash of Kings book. And then we had a store leak, I believe, with Ambush. Never mind. We were playing the game together with Kacper, and we played our round, and then there was still 1 hour to the shop closing, and we decided to play another game of Ambush. We set our clocks to, I believe, 20 minutes.
Yeah, or 15 or something like that.
Yes, something like that. And the whole game, both players, 6 rounds.
Yeah, it took us 23 minutes and 37 seconds.
I believe it was more like 27 minutes, but it was crazy,
Yeah, I like it. Yes, it's a cool mode.
When you play this fast, it's like you need to play as fast as you possibly can, because then your opponent doesn't have time to think about their movements, so they need to lose their game, and maybe they need to use their time, and maybe they will clock out and then lose the game. So it's another layer of strategy.
Ihr hört den Mantic Universe Podcast. So viel Universum, so wenig Zeit.
Yeah, I mean, the ambush rules, if I remember correctly, they suggest you can run events like this. And I think they say the first game you give 30 minutes on the clock per player, or 45 minutes on the clock, and then game 2, 30 minutes, and then game 3, 15 minutes. And I've never tried it, but I find it interesting because, as you said, it becomes a different game almost. Like it really pushes you to think very fast, or you can't, overthink your decisions. You just tack, go for it. And I find it interesting. I wouldn't play all the time like this, but I think it really brings a different dimension that is interesting. For veteran players, it certainly is something quite interesting, I believe. Like in one evening, you play 2-3 games, no problems. It's quite nice.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I think we will do it someday.
And this is, like Kings for me, Kings is fantastic game. Obviously, Kings is life. Everyone knows that. But the challenge with Kings is that this game is kind of acquired taste. You need to play the game to appreciate the game.
Yes, from the outside, it doesn't necessarily look that interesting.
Exactly. And this is super similar to how chess works, right? When you just sit aside of 2 players playing chess, if you are not into chess, you won't know what's happening there. Like you everything is flying over your head. You just don't understand the game. You don't see those traps. You just don't get anything from it. The same is with Kings. And this quick ambush reminds me a lot of those, I believe they are called lightning chess, or those super quick chess tournaments.
Yes, or the Blitz something, right? I think.
Oh yeah. I think it's Blitz. It's called Blitz. Yes.
It's like reading a book and watching the movie. It's not the same.
Yes, it's a different experience with it. Yeah, and so I also wanted to hear about. So you said you guys created the club for Warsaw, and there are also other stores and clubs in other cities. Do you know of other events that are maybe not very advertised or like much advertised or very public, but like do you guys travel to other cities to go play? Or like do you know of other people organizing events in other areas in Poland? Like I've heard about the Armada events that you went to, but Is there any chance of going to another one-day event somewhere in Poland or another GT somewhere in Poland?
So I can answer this. Like everything is mostly concentrated around us, around the Kings of Warsaw club. But in those cities I mentioned earlier, like Białystok and Łódź and Iława, there are tournaments that they organize. Mostly Słupsk is organizing their own local tournaments. And Armada in the south is organized by Maciej Kulesza, that some people can know from the Armada groups from Facebook. But mostly it's the tournaments we organize in Poland are for the Kings of War League, the Polish league that we are, how to say it, that we have and we participate. So
right.
And Warsaw is like in the center of all of those cities. So it's usually we are organizing the tournaments, so all the cities can have the same distance to travel. But usually we are trying to have one big event, like 2-day event per city that have players, of course. Or maybe if it's closer, like Łódź, it's 1-day event. And of course, we have finals, the finals of the league in Łódź. Well, it was once because the league just started a year ago. But yeah, every year will be in Łódź, probably.
Nice. Where does the information get posted? Do you guys post it on Kings of War Fanatics or on T3? Or where do you guys post the information about your events, or in general the events in Poland? Where can people find info about them?
We have our website, kingsofwarsaw.pl, which needs manual updates. So honestly, I hoped there will always be up-to-date list of upcoming tournaments, but it's on me, so sometimes I'm just not updating it. But all the details, all the info is on our Kings of Warsaw Polska Facebook group, and all the people are already there, so they are up to date with the news. And when it comes to the tournaments in Poland in general, as I said, I began playing tabletop when I was in high school. In high school, I had this mindset that I am poor student that gets pocket money from their parents, and I don't have money to buy anything.
I can relate. Yes.
Traveling to another city to play a game,
of course.
But
yes.
we decided when we got to talk about what to do with the Polish scene, Polish Kings of War scene. We realized that we are no longer those people, right? That
yes.
Right now, like all of us are adults that have jobs, and it's okay to travel 2 hours to another city to play few games because it's your hobby, and everyone needs a time off in their life.
Yes, there's also a social part to going to see different people, different city, and play in a different context. That's also an interesting aspect of it.
Yeah,
it takes a bit more effort, but it also brings something new and interesting. Yeah, that's good.
That's true. But also when it comes to the effort, I'm observing the US scene from distance, obviously.
Yes.
But in the US, when you are traveling by car like for 2 hours, it's like nothing, right?
Yeah, it's your commute time.
Exactly. It's your commute time. And honestly, I live in Warsaw, and I remember once when I worked in, I live on the north part of in the northern part of Warsaw, but few years ago I was working in the farthest southern part of Warsaw, and the commute was 1.5 hours. So
yes.
And I was doing it all day, every day, because it was before pandemic and you had to work from the office. And now I'm complaining that I need to travel
for 2 hours to another city to spend my free time playing few games with my buddies and having to have great time and to relax. Like,
yeah, it's a different question a bit. Yeah, I mean it's getting a question of getting used to it, but yeah. I wanted to know also, guys. So you mentioned various locations where people play and clubs and so on. What is your impression of the current dynamic, let's say, of Mantic games? Like, do you see more new players and like slowly growing the scene, or are you optimistic about the future, or do you feel more it's difficult, or how is it going these days?
Well, Polish nature is to be pessimistic, but I'm always optimistic. I'm optimistic about the future of Kings of War in Poland, definitely. In Kings of War in the world, maybe. I don't look so far away yet. But I'm optimistic about Kings of War because Kings of War is great. And for 3 years now, I'm trying to expand it. And after those 3 years, I finally see some results because I have like 5 people saying they want to start playing Kings of War in one of the neighboring states, states like the
regions.
Regions, yeah. And now I'm excited, and I just booked 1 weekend for them to go there and introduce them.
I'm curious to hear what, in your opinion, is the main thing that Mantic could do to, support this community getting bigger and so on. Like, what is the main ingredient that you guys are missing, or what support?
So how Mantic could help? More stores in Poland selling Mantic games. That would definitely help. What they can do to help stores stock their game.
Faster deliveries, definitely.
Faster deliveries, but also they could think about having less SKUs.
Yes, I think that's what Champions is about, right? Like the goal of Champions is you have like 1 box per faction and that's it. There's no need to overthink.
Yeah.
Do I need the mega army, the normal army? Do I buy this regiment on top, or do I 3D print something? How do I 3D print the units? No, you buy the champion box. That's it. You have the rules, and that's it. So, but yeah, still, so inventory, you say, is a big problem. Like having fast stuff.
Yes. You need to have your stuff fast at your door, in your mailbox, to enjoy the game, to keep the fire running, right?
Yes, that makes sense.
Quality assurance is very lacking. Like you order something from Mantic and then it's not what you ordered.
Unfortunately, it happens, yes.
Yeah, that still is a problem. We've seen it also in Berlin.
Yeah, we have experienced it.
And the funny thing is, most of the miniatures are produced here in Poland. So
new plastic miniatures are printed, are manufactured in Poland. They travel to the UK, and then in the UK they package those miniatures, and they can expedite them to the shop in Poland too, right? So
yes,
maybe you could make it better.
It's a problem.
3D printing might be a solution, but
it only works for some things, right? Like the plastic sprues, this you don't want 3D printed. So
yes, of course, but still, it would somewhat alleviate the problem. You would have lower number of SKUs that shops would have to keep on the stock, because the rest would be upgrades to those SKUs. Like you have Salamander Prime box, and you can print the Ceremonial Guard upgrade, the Corsairs upgrade, and the Unblooded upgrade. So you can have 4 units out of 1 plastic sprue plus 3D upgrades. But the problem with 3D printing here is that this is not the US or the UK. People are living here mostly in apartment buildings. When you live in an apartment building, you don't have your like room dedicated to your 3D prints. And resin printing is not good for your health.
Yes, it's a big problem.
It's a huge problem. So basically what people are doing, maybe someone who lives in like a house and they have a printer and you are subscribed to the Vault. You ask them to print minis for you, but it would be much, much easier and much more convenient if there were some Mantic approved sites in Poland that would print those minis. That would be so much better.
And do you think what was the name of the Paladinat you mentioned?
Paladinat.
Could they have maybe a printing service, or do you think they don't have space?
They started printing. I saw the printer, but not the SLA, but the plastic one.
Yeah, the FDM.
FDM,
Yes.
yep. And as I asked them, I don't think they will start the resin printer. I don't think they have place for it, and so on. So it's not viable.
This is even more complicated because you have first of all you have a license problem, right? Mantic needs to give you a license so you can print and sell minis. This is one thing, probably solvable. But when you look at the Mantic page, there are, I believe, 2 or 3 places in the world that have Mantic license to print minis for you. Then the second problem is that if you are like legal entity enterprise, a shop, and you go into the printing business, you need to meet all the regulations that are connected to 3D printing. So you need to have this whole dedicated room with a specific set of ventilations.
Yes, it's a lot of work.
And it's a lot of work, and it costs a lot of money. The renting, the place, plus all the equipment that is required and all that, right? You can watch the Mini Wargaming, I think. No, yes, Mini Wargaming does 3D printing as a service. You can watch their film on their video on YouTube, where what they need to do to be able to run this business, right? So it's similar here in Europe. Europe is regulated a lot, right? So it's not that easy. But it would definitely help if there were some sites.
I think I agree with you here. Like if it's a shop, it's a whole lot of requirements, and it probably doesn't make them enough money to be worth the effort. But then if there are no other options, that means people who don't have a 3D printer or a resin 3D printer, they just don't have options to print the stuff. So then it's a problem, right? So probably would help if Mantic had some sort of a merchant license, and then someone with a house or with a garage or something, they could, do some prints, but in a more structured way, kind of in between. Just you ask your friend from the club, or you go to a shop that has a printing service, something a bit in between that is more reliable. That just maybe you have a friend, and not as difficult as a shop setting up everything. Yeah, I think it's the same issue in other locations. It's not just something for Poland. But yeah, no, interesting. Should we switch maybe and talk more about your GT, so the Kings of Warsaw events that you guys organize early June?
Sure, definitely. I can start with a little story. So in 2023, when Piotr won Clash of Kings in the UK, that was our second clash. We went there in 2022. It was Clash of Kings in London. So that was our first international event here from Poland. It was a great experience. Then we went in 2023. I say we, but it was Piotr, won the Clash. And we were super stoked, super hyped. I was approached by some players from different countries around Europe asking us about tournaments in Poland. And I was thinking like, yes, I will definitely do a big tournament in Warsaw. The dream was, I had a dream back then, and the dream was that it was the biggest tournament in Europe. So we are not there yet, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. So it started in 2023 after Piotr won the Clash of Kings. So we organized the first edition last year. We had 20 players.
It was a good event.
5 from abroad, 15 from Poland. 6 games to 2,300 points, so standard. Northern Kings scoring, which I very much like. And it was great event. I think it was great event. There were some things that we should improve, and we hopefully will improve this year.
What do you have in mind? I'm curious. What's your takeaway from the first edition, and what do you want to do differently for the upcoming one?
There was one big issue, my personal issue, that I was playing the game. so because I was running the tournament, was judging the tournament.
It's a full-time job to run the event. Yes, I've made the mistake also.
And was playing the game. It was so taxing. I was so tired. I was knackered. Like after game 5 on Sunday, I was just dead. I was like, no, I'm not playing the 6th game. Thankfully, there was one player that decided to leave. He had to leave, so I didn't have to play the 6th game. But it was very, very taxing. Also, there was a problem because I made a mistake when entering the results into the Mantic companion app, and
the best companion ever.
I mean, right now, if it happened this year, there would be a way of fixing the issue, but the last year there wasn't, so we had to create another GT event in Mantic Companion, ask everyone to enter their scores again, their list again, so it was stressful a lot.
I think I remember now that you mentioned it. Yes, it's and it's one more thing you have to manage, right? Like you're playing games, and then you have to figure this out, and it's a lot. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So that was, I think that was a major one. Another thing was kind of a surprise. The turnout hopefully turned out to be a good thing that happened. This year we got I got info from a gaming club that rents us the place, the venue, that they got evicted from their location that we had been playing in last year. And so I was shattered. I thought, okay, so Kings of Warsaw GT won't happen this year. But then, like a few weeks later, or it was a month later, they found us a new venue, and this is a much better venue. It has a bar. So this is like one major thing about this venue, right? It has a bar. You need to just go upstairs and you are at the bar. So food readily available, drinks readily available.
You asked us what would we change after last year? So we did. We have a bar now.
That's a good one. And so what's the venue like? Is it like what type of location is it? You said there's a bar, but what type of events do they have normally?
So it's a ski resort in Warsaw, in the middle of Warsaw. You know, if you've never been to Warsaw,
a ski resort in Warsaw. What are you talking about?
If you've never been to Warsaw, you need to understand Warsaw is flat as a pancake. Basically, like no hills whatsoever. But we have like man-made hill in one park in almost the center of a city.
Okay.
And they have a ski lift over there. And in the winter you can go there and you can ski.
Okay.
But in the summer, no one is skiing there.
Obviously, yes.
But they do have a venue.
I see.
They do have a facility. It looks quite nice, and there is a bar. So
that's a great thing. So that means your events have to be in the summer, because in winter you go there to ski, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes. Yeah. So that's fun. We are playing command dice this year. I was holding on a decision whether to use command dice or not until we get info if command dice are being used on this year's Clash of Kings, because I wanted to replicate as much as possible the setup of Clash of Kings, just to be, kind of a primer.
Yeah, it's a good model to follow, I think. So yes, that makes sense.
But then we didn't hear whether they will use command dice or not, so we decided that we are going for it. So if you never played Kings with command dice, you will have a chance if you come to our Kings of Warsaw GT.
So yeah, we didn't even say the date. It's early June, so it's 7th and 8th of June.
7th, 8th of June, Warsaw 6 games, 2,300 points, command dice. We didn't play them either, so everybody have a chance.
That's not entirely true. We did play command dice. I think they are now after the last errata, when you have 3 red dice instead of red, white, blue, are in a better spot. I'm still not convinced whether they are a must or whether they change Kings for the better, but they are in a good spot.
Yeah, it's an interesting experiment, I would say. I mean, locally, with kind of a digression now, but locally, a lot of the players play 750 points ambush anyway, including the experienced players, because, like you go play for a Friday evening and you're tired from the week and so on. And if you have the choice between, do I take 2,300 points and play a full game, 2 hours plus of intense play, or do I just play a 750 points and play a much, relaxed game, or also play with the new players that don't have a full army yet? Nowadays, I tend to play more the smaller format. And in Ambush, there is no command dice, right? So I think locally we haven't played so much with them, but that's not because we don't like them. It's just out of the opportunity. So on a GT like this, I think it's an interesting thing to have. And I'm glad that you guys are using it for the GT. And then we'll see later what Mantic does for the command dice, right? It's an experiment at the moment. So yeah, cool. And so you said you changed the venue. Is it bigger or smaller than the previous one? How is it in terms of numbers of seats? Do you still have some capacity to get new players, or how is it looking?
Well, this year we have only capacity for 42 players, and we already have 32 taken. So only 10 places still hot for the taking. So if anyone want to come, then I invite you.
Right. So it's not quite full yet, but if people are interested, they should definitely buy a ticket now and sign up to secure a place. How much is the ticket, by the way? I think it wasn't that expensive last year, right?
It's 120 Polish zloty, which translates to roughly
£25 and I think 30 euros.
Yeah, a little less than 30 euros and little less than 25 pounds. So it's quite cheap.
Yes, it's affordable. I remember also coming from Berlin, for me, it's easier because it's just one train ride, 5 hours, but still just one direct train. And I remember also, going around in the city, and then food and beers and accommodation, so a hotel room. It is not as expensive as if you go to a tournament in London or even Nottingham for Clash. It ends up being quite a budget. I mean, you can find cheap alternatives and so on, but definitely if you are, let's say, budget conscious, I think it's a very good opportunity to go play 6 very interesting games of Kings of War in the weekend. So yeah, highly recommend it.
and good thing about the location that it is in Poland is that if you want to get to the UK, you need to fly there. Okay, if you are Dutch, probably you can ride. But we know people that get there by car, but still, that would be a long trip. Here in Poland, you can go, from Berlin, you have trains. From Prague, you have trains, direct trains. It's not far to get by car. You don't necessarily need to fly. If you get your friends in one car and you travel like in 4 people, then it will be like a lot cheaper than if you flew.
Yes. And also, once you are there, you don't need a car or anything. Like, you don't need to rent a car to go around Warsaw. Like, the public transports work really well, and also taxis or Uber and so on. You can find options. So really, I found it very convenient, I wanted to say. And so, do you also already have international players traveling? I think Fred, our editor from Norway, is traveling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we have 15 players, as Łukasz said. We have Fred, also with Martin from Oslo. We have a couple of guys from Czech Republic and
France, Italy, Czech Republic, the UK, Norway. We asked people from Spain, maybe they will come, we'll see. And we have, of course, Polish players as well. So it will be quite an international tournament.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I remember last year there were already some, international players, and language is definitely not an issue. Like, you can get around using English, or like with the local players. You guys also help people out, to find a restaurant and so on for the evening. So it really is an easy thing to do. Yeah, that's quite nice. Anything else we didn't mention or that you want to talk about, or, say more about Poland, Kings of War in Poland and the future of it, and what you hope for the future, or any topic you want to talk about, guys? Yes, now is your time.
There is one more thing, about the dream that I said, right? There was another dream. One dream was to make the biggest tournament on mainland Europe, which maybe will come in one day. But the other idea, more realistic, was that maybe we could do a European Kings of War League, where that would be modeled...
like the US Masters or the UK Master?
Yes, after the US Masters, where you have regions, and all the regions have their own tournaments. You get nominated. The best players go then to a master, so the finals. And the best from the final is then becoming a master of the US. So here will be the master of Europe. And additional, in parallel, there is a tournament running which is called the Best of the Rest, where all the people that just want to come and play, they can. Maybe, yes, just maybe, we can organize something in this fashion here in Europe. So, guys, if you are interested, reach out to me on Facebook.
Yes, that's a very interesting idea. I think now the French community is doing it, because from what I know, there is a relatively large community for Kings of War in France, and they have events throughout the year, all over France, and like people go to many events, 1 day or 2 day events in France throughout the year, and that allows them to have similar masters style ranking, and then they have the actual masters and the best of the rest in parallel, and then it's a big event. I think for me this is a very interesting idea, also because it's pushes the people who organize events to connect and have a series of events that then the most interested players will travel to, and I think this is a very good and very healthy thing for the game.
We also have something like that here in Poland. We have our tournaments. You get points. Our league is modeled in the UK. So we looked at the UK League and we did exactly almost the same here in Poland. So you have all the events, you get points, you are qualified to the Masters, and then you get the Master. But I'm thinking about spreading it across Europe. So not having like a French Master,
Right.
but having like a European Master. That would be something.
I agree. No, that's a very interesting idea. I like it. Yeah, that's something we need to discuss and also bring in more people from the community. And so you said for the Polish community, it's on the website that you mentioned earlier, right? Like what is the address again? Is it kingsofwarsaw.pl or did I?
Kingsofwarsaw.pl, yes.
Yeah, but I recommend checking out Facebook groups of Polish groups, and of course our Facebook website, Kings of Warsaw, which I usually post everything, usually in Polish. But if it's if I want to connect with someone from outside Poland, then I will always write something in English for them. So
Yes.
be sure to subscribe.
Do you guys have also a Discord community maybe or not really?
Yeah, we started Discord in October, I think. And thanks to it, I painted like 300 minis last year, which is twice as many as I did previous year.
That's good. Yeah, again, maybe we can post in the show notes links to the Discord that you have and all of the social media pages and so on, just if any of the listeners are interested and want to get in touch, they can find all the infos there. That will be, I think, a good solution. Great. Yeah, I like your idea. Anything else you wanted to mention or discuss, or another big idea to grow the community and have a good time playing games?
Łukasz?
No, two dreams, one evening, good enough.
That's I think that's a very solid start. Good. Then my takeaway is Mantic should support more distributors and have more inventory so that people can actually buy their product, right? That's what we want in the end, that they buy the Mantic minis and games and that we have more players, and then organize like a Masters of Europe. That would be very cool. Great. Well, guys, I think we've talked about everything we wanted to discuss tonight. And thank you for joining me tonight. It's the first time you were on the Mantic Universe podcast, but I hope it's not the last. You know that if you have topics you want to discuss, or if you want to express also a different opinion on how you experience Kings of War and Mantic games, we're very happy to, record short episodes like this one today, and really support the community in expressing how they're doing things and share, their successes and difficulties. And I'm very happy that you guys took the time to come chat about Kings of War in Poland with me tonight. So yeah, any last words to conclude before we say goodbye?
Clem, thanks for having us. Kings of War is life.